Sorry I haven't made a video in almost a month. I became a father exactly 3 weeks ago to a beautiful baby girl. 2 weeks ago was Christmas, and last week was New Year's. So, I've got my nose back to the grindstone starting today. I can't wait to share my new video ideas with all of you. As you can see, I've sort of let my beard get out of control and my hair's a little bit of a mess. Today, we'll be doing episode 4 of your first music lesson, and we'll be learning the basics of a new instrument today, the violin. So, learning about the parts of the violin. Up top here, towards the head, is the scroll. And in the scroll is this thing called a peg box, which is where your peg tuners go in. You're going to use the peg tuners when you need to make big changes to your strings while you're tuning. Down here, you've got your fine tuners. This is when you need to make small changes when you're tuning the string. Working our way down from the head, we've got the neck of the violin, which connects the head to the body. And on the front of the neck, we have the fingerboard, this long black piece. This is where we're going to put our fingers when we're playing the violin. It changes the notes when you put your fingers down. So, we've worked our way down the fingerboard to the bridge, and down below the bridge, the fine tuners. Those are connected to the tail piece right here, this black piece, which ends with a button at the very bottom of the violin. This is connected to the chin rest, which is what you're going to use to hold up the violin. When you're first starting out, it's going to be a lot harder to hold up the violin without using your hand to support it. But over time, you'll become pretty comfortable doing that. The shape of the body can be categorized as bouts. So we have the upper bout, the center bout, which is this indent here, and then the lower bout down here. And these are called the F holes. F stands for fun. Your violin should have also come with a bow. The bow allows us to play a different style than when we don't use the bow. If we don't use the bow, we're plucking the strings. And if we use the bow, it allows us to make a different sound with the violin. Let's learn about the parts of the bow. So, starting here at the bottom, we've got the screw. This is called the frog. This is the grip. This whole long piece, this wooden piece, is called the stick, which ends with the tip. And we've also got the hairs down here. And that's all there is to it. An important part of playing the violin, or any instrument, is maintenance, taking care of your instrument. It's important that you don't leave it locked in your car when it's cold or hot outside. You want to take it inside to a temperature-controlled environment, keep it securely put away in its case, and you want to make sure that it doesn't get dried out, because that can cause cracks and damage the integrity of the instrument. The bow basically has one thing that matters. It's the screw here at the end. Have you ever heard of lefty-loosey, righty-tighty? So when you start playing, the bow should be loose, and the hairs shouldn't have much tension on them. That means when you play, it's not going to sound as good as if you tighten up the bow hairs, righty-tighty, tighten, tighten, and then the sound is a little bit better. But the most important thing to remember is that when you're done playing, you loosen the bow back up. This will protect the integrity of the bow. Over time, if you leave it with too much tension, it can snap. There's a lot that comes along with learning the violin. So much, in fact, I don't know where to get started. But let's start with the string names. So, the names of the strings will tell us what note we want to tune each string to. We're going to use a mnemonic device to learn the names of the strings. And it's going to be good dogs always eat. We take the first letter of each word, G for good, D for dogs, A for always, E for eat, and that's the name of each string from low to high. G, D, A, E. So now, if I use a reference pitch, because most of us probably don't have perfect pitch, and if you do, I'm jealous, we're going to use the G on the piano, we'll play the G on the violin, and we'll compare them. This is slightly off. So I'm going to use the fine tuner because it's a very small change that I need to make. And I want to match it to the piano. Sounds good now. Almost. Ear training is probably one of the hardest things that you can learn first off, so I'm really proud of you for trying. Here's D. That one sounds good to me. How about A? Oh, that was the wrong string. And then E. The thing about the violin is that the strings are tuned what's called a perfect fifth away from one another. That means that when we play two strings at the same time, it should have a nice, round, even tone. That one sounds pretty good. That one's really close. That's pretty good. That's also really close. And that's called a perfect fifth. When you're tuning, it's sort of hard to explain, but when two notes are very close to one another, there's going to be sort of a warble, like a wah, 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 wah. And the idea is that you want that warble to even out. You want it to mellow out. So now that we've learned the names of the strings, we can learn how they correspond to one another. So the G string plays a G. If you put your finger here, it plays A, B, C, and then D. It's important that when you're playing a string, you press your finger all the way down, because if you don't, it'll choke the note. You need to put that tension all the way down there. And that's important. I know I'm going pretty fast right now, but I think if you really try to, if you need to pause the video or whatever so you can keep up, that's fine. I'm just going to keep rolling. So, G, A, B, C, D. Because in our previous Your First Music Lesson, Music Theory 1, we learned about the musical alphabet, which is A through G. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, repeating. So if the first note that we play is G, the very next note that we're going to play after G is going to be A. That's how we walk our way up the musical alphabet. So G, after that is A, B is where, right here, we're going to put our second finger there. C is our third finger, first, second, third, fourth fingers. So G, A, B, C, and then your fourth finger plays D, which is the same note that you're going to play on the next open string. Then you can walk your way up that string following the same formula. The only thing that changes is that sometimes when we put our fingers down, we're going to have sharps or flats in a specific spot. But on the G string, where we put our fingers, we'll not have any sharps or flats. Much of the time when we start learning the violin, our teacher will put a little piece of tape to show us where to put our fingers. I don't actually have that on my violin because I am more advanced than that, but it helps a lot learning how you put your fingers down where they're supposed to go. And the way that it works is it's literally two half steps from G to A. So that's where we would put our first piece of tape. And it would go across so that it would be two half steps up from the open string on all four strings. Then we put another piece of tape, two more half steps up. So on the G string, this goes from A to B. And then our third piece of tape will be one half step up from B to C. One other piece of important bow maintenance is called rosining your bow. When you rosin your bow, that means that you're literally adding a little bit of fossilized tree sap, tree resin, to the hairs of the bow. A good way to do this is to hold the bow hairs down, hold the rosin up, and slide it in small bits and pieces, small, what is this motion called? Back and forths. All the way from the frog, which is down here, to the tip, up here. I'm going to go all the way up the hairs. We want to try to get an even coating. If If you rosin your bow long enough, it'll leave a little fine, dusty white powder on the strings when you play with the bow. And that's fine. But you don't want to over-rosin the bow. Then, once you've done small circles, I keep calling them circles, back and forths, whatever it's called. I don't know what this motion is, up and downs. You go slightly larger, and you go up and down the whole way, once or twice, and you've rosined your bow. Over time, you'll develop cracks, bits of the rosin will fall off, and you'll wear your rosin down. After long enough, you'll know it's time to get new rosin. I decided to forego the Guitar Tuna app today, because last time it was a disaster. But feel free to use Guitar Tuna. Actually, you know what? Let's do it. Let's just see how it sounds according to the Guitar Tuna app. Because I tuned according to my piano, which is a digital piano, and which plays the same note every time. So I think that it's consistent, but I don't know. It might be tuned a few cents flat or sharp with 440, which is just jargon for, it could be slightly off. I just don't know. So I've already got my violin pulled up. Now if I pick one of the strings, let's pick the G. Oh, it plays the G, that's cool. That's how it should sound. According to this, it's a little bit sharp. Let me try to play it with the bow and see what it says. Try to hold this up so you can see it.
Your first music lesson. Your first
You'll just have to trust me. Trust the stranger on the internet. Alright. According to the Guitar Tuna app, it's slightly flat. So, I want to go clockwise on the fine tuner. And now it's perfect. Let's check the D. Oh yeah, when you're using the app, you have to switch the string. Oh, look, it played the note. So this says it's flat too. So I have to go clockwise again, this time on the D fine tuner. That does sound good. Okay, now, A. That one says it's good. I think it sounds slightly off. But I can live with it. Now E. That one says it should be good. Okay. Alright, that went a lot better than last time. So, that's the Guitar Tuna app using the violin option. So, there you go. Okay, last thing I want to do today is learn a little bit of a melody. So we're going to use the G, the good, and the D, dogs, strings. We're going to play. I'm going to show you the notation here. And this is how it works. You're going to go. So what I did was I played open G, open D, open D, first finger D, and open D. That's what that notation means. Then I continue the song. That's the next line, the notation at the bottom, and how to play it. Here's the third line. Fourth line, same as the third. The next line, the last two lines are the same as the first two lines. And that's the song for you. I bet you can guess what it is. Last thing I want to say is it's a lot easier to pick up the violin without using the bow. So that's why I didn't really introduce the bow except for the very basic maintenance aspect of it. But maybe in your second music lesson series, the violin will throw the bow in there. I can't say for sure, I can't predict the future, but I would guess that that would be part of it. I want to say thank you for watching and learning with me while I figure out my life. Being a new dad is a little crazy and a little scary, but I'm happy I found some time to share a bit about my life with you. Keep your eyes peeled for my next new series, which drops next week. See ya!